What's going on, everybody? It's your man Cleveland Terry, and today is actually Thanksgiving. So what comes after Thanksgiving? Black Friday. So we're gonna do something a little different. Normally I talk about DJ stuff, but as I said before, I'm gonna talk about all kinds of tech. I'm gonna talk about headphones, I'm gonna talk about computers, I'm gonna talk about cameras, anything that kind of I enjoy doing, I'm gonna talk about. So today is one of those things. We're gonna discuss the Airpods Pro right here. Airpods Pro came out a few weeks ago, and they came out to very little fanfare. I mean, Apple basically said, hey guys, they're out. You can buy them right now. They'll be shipped to your house in 2 days. That was it. They've been out for a little while, and some people have already done their reviews. I mean, some people did their reviews in like a day or two of having them. I don't believe that you can actually do a thorough review without using something for several weeks. I wanted to make sure that I was able to talk about them intelligently before I did my review. And because Black Friday is right around the corner, I know a lot of people are going to be looking at sales, thinking that this is the time, this is the opportunity to actually buy some new headphones. So we're going to talk about that right now. Now, we're not going to go into a huge technical review of this product. There's a lot of videos out there already that really break down them from a technology standpoint. I'm going to talk about just what I love about them and what I don't like about them. So first of all, we're going to talk about the design. When they released this product, they actually came in a little bigger than their previous one. Here's the current gen AirPod Pro, and then here is the previous gen, just regular AirPods. So as you can see, a different shape. If you put them together like so, yeah, there's maybe an inch, half an inch difference. They're maybe a quarter of an inch wider than the original ones. In my pocket, they're still the exact same feel. They don't feel bulkier. They just work the way they did it before. You open them up, same concept as before. You got your headphones in here. You got your battery bay at the bottom that's charging them. Same thing right here. Now, because of the in-ear design, obviously it forces them to come out with a slightly wider design here. As you can see, it's a little longer. I mean, some people have compared it to blow dryers or like Plants vs. Zombies, but you know, whatever. They work well. They're fine. Another thing about this case is, yes, there is wireless charging. In this case, this is the only option for these headphones. You have to go with the wireless charging ones. I know on the AirPods, you can decide to get the wireless charging case or the plug-in case, which is located, you know, right over here that we use to plug in the lightning port. This is a wireless charging case, but of course you still have the lightning plug right here. I know your next question before I get into anything is going to be, fine, Apple makes their own tips. That's fine. They're actually pretty affordable. I think they're like $3 or $4 to replace the tips if something happens to them. Can you use third-party tips? And the answer is no. So if you're looking at maybe using your Complies or Compli, I don't know how they pronounce it, but if you're looking to use those to give you a better seal, they're not going to work on these. These are dedicated and designed for and by Apple. Let's talk about what 90% of using headphones is about, and that's the sound. The sound is good. Actually, the sound is very good. They are night and day better than the traditional AirPods that you can buy, and that's first gen and second gen. There is a noticeably better low end on these. Now, it could be because obviously you're actually forming a tight seal around the ear, so you're gonna allow for more bass to come through as opposed to the standard hang in your ear AirPods that you used to, which didn't really form a seal. A lot of times they wouldn't even go into the main canal properly. So you're never gonna get a really good low-end sound. The low-end sound is not humongous. I mean, we're not talking Beats low-end sound, but it provides a really good balanced sound. And that's what I'm gonna say about these headphones. They are very, very balanced. I would say the focus, if anything, is more on the mid presence of the soundstage. So the mids are crisp, the highs are crisp. It has a really, really good soundstage. When they're in your ear, the spread of the instruments, the spread of the sounds, it's a really, really immersive sound. And that's something that I didn't get from the original AirPods, and I didn't even get those from both the Solo 3s or the Studio 3s. The soundstage for those is really, really compressed, kind of hollow sounding in the middle, where these, the mids are just, they're right there in front. So they have a really, really good sound. I haven't heard the Beats Solo 4s yet, but I'm gonna guess that the Beats sound a lot like these. They're tuned to sound like these, with obviously an emphasis on the low end because they are Beats. The sound isolation is good to gooder. I mean, I can walk around normal streets and turn on the isolation, and for the most part, it'll clear all that unnecessary wanted sound. I was driving a big U-Haul truck over the weekend, and I started kind of really trying to check to see how much sound it blocked out, because I think driving a U-Haul truck is kind of like maybe being in an airplane. It's just loud and windy and engine noise, so it was just kind of everywhere. And yes, it did block out the majority of sounds, but when there was no music playing, I definitely could hear the engine roaring. I could hear things happening in the background. Was it better than like the passive sound? Basically with a passive in-ear monitor, you would take like the compli tips and you would squeeze them really, really small, shove them in your ear canal, and then as they widened to fill your ear, they would block out that unwanted noise. But with the AirPods, while they do have a passive mode, these are active noise canceling headphones. So that means that it's taking these microphones, one that's located here, one that's located here. From there, it's actively using voodoo. I don't know exactly how it happened, but it's actively removing all of that unwanted external noise, which leaves you with just the music. One of the things that I really liked, I noticed right off the bat, because I use my AirPods for a lot of conference calls. I'm driving and I want to hear my own stuff, but then I want to be able to talk to the people in the car. I'll put one of these in my ear, like so. And when I do that, if this was a standard, regular, passive in-ear monitor, once I put that in my ear, it would close up. And then I would have this weird sound on one ear, no sound on the other, equilibrium thing, because it's literally blocking the sound out of the one ear. Well, Apple has thought about this, and when you put the one headphone into your ear, it actually activates the transparency mode. And the transparency mode takes these microphones that were used to cancel out the noise, and it brings in the actual sound. So unlike the active noise cancellation where it's saying, oh, I hear that noise, I don't want that to get into the speakers, now it's saying, I hear that noise, focus it into your ear canal. So you hear everything that's outside plus your music. So that's a really cool feature. And then when you put the second one in, if you had noise cancellation active, then it would turn them both on. Also, if you're working out and you're using your Apple Watch, and let's say if I'm going on an outdoor run and I put my headphones on, I noticed that by default, when you start up the headphones, they will start up in transparency mode, which makes sense because if you're outdoors and you're running or on a bike or walking, you need to be able to hear the outside elements. And that's one of those really cool features that Apple had the forethought to put in to protect you and to protect themselves. Now, I can put them back into noise cancellation mode, but I have to turn them on versus they're already on. Speaking of transparency mode, one other thing that I did notice, especially with the low end sound. Now, when I first started listening to them, I said, the sound is good, but the low end is definitely lacking a little bit. I noticed that, one of the things that's very important is that you have a really good seal. And also, I noticed that when you were in noise canceling mode, the low end is limited a hair. It's not much, but if you have some good ears, you can tell the difference between noise canceling mode and when you are in passive mode. So when the noise canceling is off, you're not in transparency mode, but when the noise canceling is off, I noticed that there's a little more airflow into the headphones and you get a little more rumble from the bass. It's subtle, but it is there. Does that mean I won't use my noise canceling? No, of course not. I can deal with a little less bass knowing that I'm not having to hear the outside world. But in passive mode, I think that's where you get your best sounding headphone experience. I don't think you need to have noise canceling on all the time, because sometimes the environment you're in isn't that loud. So running noise canceling, all it's doing is running more power out of your headphones. Just the same thing as if you run transparency mode. Transparency mode and noise canceling both use the battery the most. So we talked about some of the cool features. Now let's talk about some of the, what I would consider to be negative features. Not necessarily bad, but things that you need to know before you buy them, because I think they're actually important things. So let's talk about the first thing, and that is in-ear monitors are designed to be used in your ear. So obviously you know this, but what does that mean when I say that? Well, unlike regular AirPods, when you use regular AirPods, you take them out, you put them in, they dangle right outside your ear canal, you know, right in the little holes here. And then if somebody talks to you, you take them out, the music pauses, you talk, you're done, you put them back in, and then obviously the music starts playing again. Well, you're not going to want to do the same thing with in-ear monitors. You see, they're not really designed to be taken in and out and in and out all day long. Because what happens is, once these little things are in your ear canal, you start to get some ear fatigue, meaning they're shoved into your ear canal, okay? So they're in my ear canal and they're deep inside, and when I take them out, they are rubbing on the inside of my ear canal. I put them back in, they're rubbing again, okay? So this constant pulling in and out is going to start to wear on your ear canal, and it's gonna make it kind of uncomfortable. And that's one of those things where I don't think people understand. You can't treat them like your regular AirPods. They're not going to work the best for your body that way. But once they're in your ear and then you put them in transparency mode, the good thing about them is you don't actually have to take them out. People are talking to you, you can hear out of that one ear or the other ear because you're in transparency mode. So as long as your music is off, you're still gonna be able to function. I forget they're in my ear, because the transparency mode is so good in bringing in all that external sound, and it sounds really, really lifelike. It's not like it's some weird digital sound going into your ear. It sounds like you're not wearing headphones and it's just the outside world. And I did see a couple of videos where people were explaining the discomfort of the headphones, and that was the first thing that I thought of. Well, that's because you're taking them in and out and it's bothering your ear canals. So keep that one little tip in your brain. Oh, and by the way, these are harder to take out than these. For some reason, these pop right out. These, the little indentation is in here, and then it's really hard to get both fingers around it, and I struggle to get them out of the case. It's annoying. It's just one of those things that I wish there was a better way to get them out, because the magnet is really good on the bottom, so it's just harder. Not a big deal, but something you should know. I don't like, this is actually the biggest thing for me. I don't like the squeeze to activate. It's actually harder to use than just having the touch feature that used to be on here. You know, you would just touch the top and it would skip to the next song, whatever you set it up for. So in this one, to change the track, you have to squeeze this thing down. And although you're not really squeezing it, I mean, there's a sensitive area here that's allowing for it to recognize that you are squeezing it, and then it'll change the track. But to double tap, to triple tap, it's really hard. It's harder on these than it is on the other ones, just using the tap function. Also, when it's in your ear and you do go to do the squeeze motion, keep in mind, I mean, it's in your ear. So you have to find the area you have to squeeze, to do a triple tap, triple squeeze, triple squeezing, and then you've shifted where your AirPods are in your ear. So I don't think it was the best solution. I would have loved to have the tap solution. Having said that, I would be completely okay with having these, knowing that the touch action was still on the actual AirPods. Because then you could have the squeeze mean change the tracks, activate Siri, whatever, and then the touch could be for volume. Maybe left one is volume down, right one is volume up. Because there still isn't a volume feature on your AirPods. There's no way to turn it up without using your iPhone. Or if you have your Apple Watch, you can lower the volume and raise the volume just from using your Apple Watch. The question is, will Apple ever put the music sound controls into the AirPods? I'm gonna say probably not, because Apple, they want you to buy more products. So this is the best and easiest way to do so. And obviously, if you're in the Apple ecosystem, you're going to do that. Also, a lot of people don't know this, but speaking of Apple ecosystem, if you have AirPods, AirPods Pro, Solo Pros that are gonna come out, if you have Apple TVs, the newer generation, you can actually use your headphones to pipe your music or your movie or your TV show from your Apple TV right into your in-ear monitors. If these are in your iCloud account and your iCloud account is the one that's running the Apple TV, which as we all know, now you can have different profiles for different people in your home. So let's say your profile is up, you go to the audio of the audio page, and then your AirPods will show up as an option. You click on those, automatically goes to your AirPods. Now you're listening to your Apple TV quietly, so nobody else is the wiser. All right, so finally the question is, should you buy the AirPods Pros? Now, I've had them for a while. I use them every single day. I prefer them to the regular AirPods, but I can totally see how some people would not want the AirPod Pros. Just because of the fact that you really have to keep them in your ear. You can't take them out because it's going to irritate your eardrums. And for a lot of people, that alone, that little knowledge that you got to keep them in your ear is going to bug some people. And they're going to want the convenience of having the regular AirPods that just hang in your ear. A lot of people, the AirPods don't work in your ear. So, not the Pros, but the original ones don't work in your ears. So this might be a solution for the people that have issues. I've never had an issue with any AirPods. They all seem to work in my ears. I just have, smaller ear canals, I guess. But for a lot of people, this isn't even an option, so they're gonna wanna look at that. The price is more expensive. I mean, these are $249 versus the AirPod regular ones that I believe are at, I think they're $149. But if you get the wireless charging case, I think they're $199. So for $50 more, you're essentially just buying the active noise cancellation that isn't available in these. That's not a bad price for noise canceling headphones. So from people that say, oh, they're too expensive, if you were gonna buy the wireless charging case anyway, they're not that much more expensive. You're talking about a $50 difference. Not the end of the world for it. Are they more expensive up front? Sure. But sound-wise, they are noticeably better. Low-end-wise, they are noticeably better. I would recommend owning them. I think they're a really good product. And once you understand how you should use them, they really are a better product. All right, guys, that's it for me. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you're going to do over the holiday season. Are you thinking about maybe getting these as a kind of alternative to maybe your bigger headphones or your DJ headphones? I mean, I use these things all the time. When I'm walking around, when I'm on conference calls, they never leave my ears and they're really, really convenient. But let me know what you use and let me know what you're thinking about. If you were thinking about getting these, or you're sticking with the old ones, or maybe moving over to the Sonys, whatever you want to do. If you found what I said here useful, hit that like button. If you found what I said here really useful, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be doing a couple of more of these over the holiday season, discussing things that I like, things that I don't like. But guys, happy Thanksgiving. Always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, we'll talk soon. Peace.